Hello to our guest. And while we're waiting, um, if you would like to share with your friends some NFT strategies, we have an amazing guest today. Uh, please don't hesitate to share this Twitter space to them. And of course, we would like to mention that this is happening every week. We try every week to host Twitter spaces and have NFT strategies for our topics and invite special guests, of course. So if you'd like to know more about it, follow us on Twitter and share this Twitter space. We will just wait for more and our guest speaker. So hello again. I see that our guest is already here. And so to start off, of course, GM, or good afternoon or good evening to everyone, or good day to wherever you are.
Good day, good day. So welcome
So
to everyone who's here right now. Yeah, and I see Big Bad Wolf, our speaker, is already here.
yeah,
I'm
and
not able to unmute my mic. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, but
Yeah,
we can
we
hear.
can we can hear you
oh
actually.
wow, that is so crazy because it on my phone it's showing his mic is off.
So, yeah,
Oh
maybe the usual, the usual theater space. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. Anyway, I'll do.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I'm gonna try and give me one sec. I'm gonna
sorry.
try and mute the mic just so I know, like it's still working. Give me
Yeah.
1 second. All right.
All right. So before we wait for Big Bad Wolf, welcome to our Twitter Spaces where we talk about NFT strategies weekly. We try to host Twitter Spaces every week where we also invite some special guests for you. And so if you would like to know more about NFT strategies, of course, follow us and be updated on all of that. And so what can you expect for this Twitter space actually? First off, don't be shy. If you're good, give us some likes, give us some reactions out there. Don't be shy to comment. We can actually see them. We can read them for you. And later on, we'll have a Q&A where we will be hearing from you guys as well. And of course, if you have friends who would like to know more about NFT strategies, um, please share this Twitter space. This could be for founders, or this could be for just NFT enthusiasts themselves. And so, yeah, I do have my co-host here as well, Barbacusi. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, guys. Welcome, GM, and good evening to some others who are on the other part of the world. So my name is Chris, aka Barbacusi. I'm the community lead for Token Minds, and happy to be here, guys.
And I actually forgot to mention who I am. I'm Albin, your host. Hello, sorry, can you hear me? I think I
Yes,
have
yeah, we
okay, I
can hear
have
you.
problems with my mic as well. So I'm Alden. I'm a marketing executive here at Token Minds, and we are a creative engineering company. So if ever you're looking into blockchain development, NFT marketing, crypto marketing, and all that within the Web3 space, you can check us out more, especially on our website, tokenminds.co. So if, yeah, you can check us out over there. Now we're just trying to get Big Bad Wolf to accept the invite.
Yep. So while waiting, guys, you can actually share this tweet. I mean, it is Twitter Space with your networks, so they will know more about Rebels. And then, since Rebels is one of the big names in space right now, they will be sharing their experiences, their strategies in this session, and maybe we can hear some alpha. Who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows? And I see that the mic works already. So to start off, for our special guest from Rebel, can you quickly introduce yourself and tell us what exactly it is you do for Rebels?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Finally got it to work. Thank you once again. It's an honor, a pleasure to come on stage with you guys. Thank you for the invite. My name is Big Bad Wolf. That's the alias I use. You can call me Wolf. In real life, I work as a technology architect for a large agrotech company in the United States, the largest agrotech company in the world, in the United States. And so I got into cryptos, or I've been into cryptos since around 2016, end of 2016. I got to experience the 2017 bull run. Um, Also the crash of 2018, and then the bear market of 19 and 20. And I was aware of NFTs all the way back from like CryptoKitties, and even before that. I I even traded. I bought one and sold a CryptoKitty at a loss. But like that was my extent of exposure for NFTs. Up until around 2021 is when I really started looking at it. I, being a technology architect, my outlook towards any new tech that comes across, whether it's Web 3 or Web 2, is to evaluate how does this fit in the larger ecosystem of application suites that are currently used by corporations, by consumers, B2B, B2C use cases and stuff like that, right? So it's a very analytical, fun, outlook towards new technology, and I've used the same outlook towards NFTs as well. My first, I think, NFT I ever bought was uh, AI NFT from Claire Silver. She's an excellent artist. It was through Braindrops, and that was the first NFT that I actually minted. Um, and then that's kind of went down the rabbit hole of PFP NFTs and what's out there. Started looking at Doodles, Basie, Macy. Realized those are really out of my league. But then there was a lot of projects kind of popping up in during that time, and Rebels was one of those projects that I think we launched the Discord January 22, I believe, or end of January 22. I think it was the 25th or 26th of January 2022. I was the first guy to join the Discord. I started my journey with Rebels as a language mod. So I'm originally from India, so I speak multiple languages. Um, but that's how I started my journey with Rebels. But then I pretty soon I realized that this was not a project like all the other projects that were popping up. The founders were established, experienced, doxed builders in the Web 2 space, and had significant expertise and experience in the Web 3 space. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Nas has recently left his job as the chief security officer of A16Z Crypto, which is the crypto wing for Anderson Horowitz, which is the largest or one of the largest venture capitalist firm in the United States. So he's extremely well versed with blockchain tech, blockchain security, and one of his personal um, I would say the reason why he founded, and he says he founded Rebels, was because he was unable to find a PFP solution that he could use. So he wanted something that he could use, and that was the biggest, I think, driver for him to launch this project. But so when it comes to me, I currently am part of the core team. I was recently inducted into the core team. I wear multiple hats for the project. So I do a little bit of community management. I do a lot of the outreach collabs and getting the Rebels name out there. And I'm also responsible for product management now. And so the product that we're building within Rebels, I am working with the devs, working with the team behind the scenes to make sure that we achieve our goals. So I know it was a long spiel, but I wanted to make sure everyone understood my background and what I currently do.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it actually sounds heavy, your full-time job and your Web3 job. And so for those aspiring projects, I'd like to actually ask, and I'm curious, how do you manage your full-time job and as well as your Web3 life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it depends on what your full-time job is. I am in my current role as the technology architect fairly hands-free in the sense that I don't need to sit down and so I'm not an individual contributor. I'm not a, I don't have to deliver uh, uh, anything specific on a daily basis for my job. And so it leaves me a lot of open time and free time, you know, outside of my work hours. So I can basically, what I'm saying is my work-life balance is pretty good so I'm at a level where my work-life balance is pretty good. So I can actually dedicate time towards Web3 a lot. And this may not be the reality for everyone, but I think it finally comes down to three things, right? You have to be really good at managing your workload. You have to be able to say no to things that you don't want to do, and you have to absolutely understand the stuff that you have to do. So you have to be able to manage that workload and find balance pretty well. You have to also, in my opinion, be really good at prioritizing your work. So, okay, so you have 10 things to do during the day. You need to know what needs to get done when, so that you can do it well. And three, I think you have to have the drive. Yeah, my hours, like I wake up at 6 in the morning. That's when my day starts. First thing I do is drop a GM on Twitter, check out Discord, and anything that was any to do tasks on the Web3 side. My day job starts around 7:30, 8 o'clock, which is when I start focusing on that. And then after 5 p.m., I'm again on my Web3 life. So that's how I kind of juggle. And then Saturday, Sunday, weekends, of course, I'm fully Web3.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that, on how to manage everything. And so now let's get into the thick of it. And for our wonderful listeners, and of course, for those who don't know, can you tell us more about Rebels?
Yeah, absolutely. So I see a few rebels, a couple of rebels in here. Mr. Neff has a rebels. He's got a psychedelics PFP, but I think I see perhaps he's got a rebels PFP. I see Six God. He's got a rebels PFP. Um, at its core, right? Rebels is a software product with a JPEG attached to it. And so the core of a NFT. So and I've been tweeting about this. I've been talking about this. This is in line with what the founder's vision is as well. And when I said initially that this is why kind of NAS wanted to launch a product, was that the PFP um, product that we use today, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Discord, any other digital or metaverse use case, is broken as it is today. It's extremely limited in what it can do. It's a picture. So to give you an example, I want to represent the fact that I have a pretty rare seal, but I also want to represent that I'm a Rebels maxi. Like I hold quite a lot of Rebels. And so how do I do that through my profile picture? What kind of social signaling abilities do today's NFTs provide in terms of being able to say that we represent multiple communities or even sub communities within a community. So, for example, to give you an example, you have the golden fur sub community within the Bored Apes. And so I may want to have a Bored Ape that I like, which is not a golden fur, but I also want to represent that I'm part of the golden fur sub community within. So you don't have a software product, you don't have a PFP product out there that's able to do those kind of multi or multi community or multi group social signaling, and that's the product that I think Rebels is trying to tackle through a customizable NFT, wherein you're able to um, add certain patches or other details to your NFT, update the metadata in a way where you're able to signal participation in these multiple communities and sub communities. But it's all on chain, right? It's all verified on chain. It's not as simple as Photoshop. Like anyone can go. Like that's the current product right now, is basically people downloading their different PFP JPEGs and putting something together through Photoshop or some other software and then using that, or banners, like people have gotten creative through banners, but it doesn't tell me if you really own the stuff. And if you're going to change the PFP in any kind of way, you're not going to be able to have the hexagonal NFT PFP, because obviously it's not part of any contract, because you kind of did it at home. And so the product that Rebels is putting together is something that is on-chain verifiable, that is cohesive in the way it is put together. So it's not PNG and PNG. It's not haphazard. It should not lose the quality of the image itself while you're doing that and all that stuff. So that's the product we're building behind the scenes. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, sounds good actually. And I just have an additional question right after that. So with this world of Web3, right, and NFTs, right? So there are different projects, and almost majority of the projects have been like just a derivative of the other, for example. So with this being said, so what do you think actually Rebels sets apart? How is what do you think sets Rebels apart? I mean, within the Web3 space. And
Yeah, if
then,
you'll, yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, and then if you can share any strategies that you can share with our listeners who also, because there are some listeners here who may be trying to make their own project, right? So any strategies you can also share on how you actually came up with this and how you actually did these things to be unique in the space. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to start pinning
Yeah, sure.
um, some of the tweets from the Rebels account, just to give people an idea of the artwork and the customization and the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. Uh, you'll see that it's extremely unique in how it's set up. This is not plagiarized art. This is original art. We're not copying anything. I haven't seen anything out there that I mean, there's a few copies of Rebels that have recently come to light, but Rebels themselves is extremely unique in its art, right? And I think when I explained the product earlier, that's what sets us apart further, is the ability to look at this as a software product and not as a art driven, I would say, I mean, even though the art is top notch, the way the founders look at this is more in line with a software product, a product with features that can be added through customizations, through, we've talked about so many different things that's possible with the Rebels PFP, using the PFP as a means to interact with the DeFi products, as a means to interact with um, um, other products in the, like, whether metaverse products or non-metaverse products, but digital products especially. We've talked about interactive NFTs, where you can hover over the NFT and it basically, and these are not any of the roadmap items. This is kind of, the vision of the founders, is that, if you start looking at the PFP as a product, then you can start thinking about what are the different requirements within this space today or for tomorrow, and you can start building the infrastructure layer for that. So, well, what sets us apart, again, to make it a little bit more, um, um, or to explain it a little bit more, is that we're a PFP project, PFP NFT project, where we are leveraging customization and the technology to build the infrastructure that will support the future use cases for custom NFTs. That's kind of how you look at it. So if you look at there's a bunch of customizable NFTs out there, right? Doodles come up with something. Psychedelics Anonymous obviously has a customizable. They've already launched their product called New Dawn. But their customizations are going towards within the ecosystem. Their customizations are, uh, I would say, within the trade economy of that project. Rebels has no such limitations, because if you can build a PFP of, sorry, if you have an NFT of doodles like I do, you can actually have a doodles patch on top of your Rebels NFT. And the Rebels NFT, before I can even apply the patch, will check if I actually own the digital asset that I'm applying the patch for. So if I own the doodle, so it should be in the same wallet that I'm applying the patch to the Rebels NFT. So it's on-chain verifiable, and it's basically allowing you to represent being the ability to, they're allowing you to represent being part of multiple communities. It's, in my opinion, there's no other project out there that is kind of taking the technology infrastructure approach, and that's where I think Rebels is different.
I see. That's really nice to hear, actually. So, like in other projects, right, there are more, okay, just this NFT, and then it's just a photo, basically. But here we actually have something to be used as a tool or as a platform that is more than the NFT itself. So I really think that's a cool way and a unique way to distinguish yourself as a project amongst the others who are in the Web3 space right now. But yeah, I'm also observing a lot of different changes in the NFT space right now, personally, right? So we have more utilities coming in, etc. Since it's a bear market, so the more unique you are, the better it seems that there is more adoption for your project. So, how do you actually think with what's currently going on? So, how do you think NFTs are going to move forward? And then, with that insight as well, related to that insight, do you have any specific strategies that you see would be really effective in the upcoming times as a project?
Uh, uh, Before we move forward and I answer that question, I just want to say Nas, our founder, is also in the audience. So Nas, if you want to come up and talk, feel free to request that. But uh, I think from a strategy point of view, our strategy is fairly simple, right? Like we're not in the business of uh, you know following in the footsteps of every new meta. Like, we have a very dedicated vision statement that we've created, and we are going to stick to that and deliver on that vision statement, which comes down to um, your uh, customizable NFT or custom NFTs uh, through tech or building the tech infrastructure for custom NFTs. And beyond that, I feel like you have to also always take into consideration where the market is, the macro market, not just the NFT space, where we headed in terms of the overall market, what kind of a bear it's going to be, how long is the bear going to be there, uh, because treasury management or managing what you have and being able to build through that is just as important. So I think from a strategy point of view, we are keeping it very simple, is prioritize on what we want to put our efforts and our resources at, be extremely cautious in terms of how we are communicating and what we're communicating to make sure we're not misleading or over promising and under delivering. And then last but not the least, deliver on what you've promised, in try to over deliver on what you've already promised. So our uh, I think the most recent slew of tweets that if you see was something that Nas just drummed up, where we were able to do 3D customizations where people were submitting their existing rebels, and we were able to make certain changes in their backgrounds and color palettes and stuff like that, and showcasing what 3D customization, which I don't think anyone's ever done. You won't find that in the space just because it's that hard to do, and it takes a lot of resources to do it. But just to showcase what's possible in the future. But our focus is right now on delivering on the patches that we have. I think I've pinned the tweet for the patches. That's the simplest way I can put it in terms of our strategy. It's like, not overcomplicating things, delivering what we decided we were going to deliver, communicating enough, but not over communicating to generate hype, because we're not a hype driven project. And community is everything for us. Like, it's all about making sure that the rebels holders get that sense that there's a team that cares about them. So I think that's the way I can sum the strategy. Nas, if you want to add a
Yeah,
word, you can
I
comment.
invited Nas just in case he wants to speak, but if not, it's still fine. Yeah. So
He's
feel free
shy.
to accept. Oh, there. Yeah, welcome, founder. Yeah, welcome, Nas.
Hey guys, it's good to talk to you guys. How are you?
Yeah, pleasure to speak with you, sir. And yeah, so we're just talking about, what is the thought of Wolf with regards to NFTs going forward, and then what is the approach of your team or strategy of your team for your project that you'd be seeing that would be effective strategy for this upcoming times. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty vocal about this. Like I've been, extremely deep in the NFT space for quite a bit of time, especially on all things kind of, technology and infrastructure. And at the end of the day, as Wolf pointed out, I think that like this space will need a lot more just infrastructure and software wins at the end of the day because software is, the will be the backbone of the future experiences. And one thing that I'm a big fan of personally is trying to come up with metrics for like the space, metrics of success for us to understand all together when what does it mean to succeed as a space. And really, I do believe that as you were saying, the vast majority of the time, a lot of people will focus on, like static images, whereas I do strongly believe that at the end of the day, like digital goods should evolve just like physical goods, right? Like where I have my phone, I have my laptop, I can update them, they can change, colors over time, they can add like more features, and so on. And so I don't see why like purely digital goods and assets and products should not be the exact same, right? Like, and so from that standpoint, if you start thinking about digital goods as kind of analogous to physical goods, there's one of the things that we should try to think through is how many times essentially is what is the ratio between the usage of the NFT and the times that it's sold. Can you imagine if like people were just buying t-shirts to sell them right away and just like no one would ever wear them? Or similarly with iPhones, just like going to the app store and the first thing that they do after just buying it is just like reselling it right away, and no one would actually care about using them. And so that's really, I think that we have all together as a space to come together and just make NFTs usable. Because so long as they're not usable, the only thing that is remaining is, kind of like speculation. And that helps draw attention to the space and some capital. But at the end of the day, that's not what's gonna make us succeed, right? Like we can't live in a world where people just like buy things to resell them. That doesn't make any sense. We have to start building things that will actually be used, and actually be used means actually be sold, and on an ongoing basis. Like when you download an app, you have in-app purchases, and if you want to unlock additional features, you have to pay for it, right? And so I'm really looking forward for a space that evolves into usable NFTs rather than just held and collected NFTs.
Yeah, I like that. Since you are building something that is really useful. So if I were a buyer of this NFT, for example, and I'm actually planning to use it, I'll be holding it for the long term rather than, I agree with that, rather than the usual hype projects with only EFPs. We will just flip it, right? And but if it has an actual use, I agree with you. I'll keep it and keep things moving as I utilize this. It's really good. And going more over to some of the strategies and your experiences as project founder, since also our founder is here, All right. So I would like to ask, actually, have you also encountered, big hurdles within the span of operating Rebels, and how did you actually overcome these obstacles? So you can share insights to our listeners, especially for those who are struggling currently in their projects, or those who would just like to know more.
Yeah, honestly, that is an amazing question. I think that it's actually very rare for people to ask me like what kind of, like issues did I run into. And I'm gonna be honest, and I think that like Wolf, it's funny because like Wolf started as, kind of a moderator as part of the team, and then kind of like climbed the rank, and then, senior mod, and then kind of, helping us now like very deeply as part of the team, and, as part of partnerships and other things. And you probably are starting to see more and more of those, Wolf, like kind of like, that the reality is actually kind of oftentimes a big pain in the ass. And I think that it is very hard to see that. And as a business, like our role, and as a project, our role is to try to keep things positive, right? Like and kind of like hide a lot of those negative things that are happening behind the scenes, but they actually do, right? Just like anywhere, and especially in our space, which is going at like 700 miles an hour, and really doesn't have any equivalent anywhere, right? So I do believe that, there were a lot of things that were immense hurdles. At the end of the day, I myself had no idea about how to best, build communities. I do think that we took a certain approach and actually tended to work well. But on for example, on the art side, a lot of people will, find the art of Rebel, absolutely wonderful, and I'm part of these people. But the flip side of it is that, it does cost a lot of money. Um, it does um, it does take an immense amount of time. Every single bug, as you can imagine, something in 3D is actually, it means that like in every single kind of combination of your asset in 3D has to perfectly work with the right light and the right kind of, kind of physics, and how intertwined, each asset is. And so the complexity for 3D art is much bigger than I've had realized, essentially. So, we had essentially a team of 12 people working relentlessly for about, I believe, like close to 7 months on the collection, like 7 days a week, essentially. And so obviously that costs a lot of money. That is we essentially took a lot of time, and oftentimes people will say too much time, right? Um, and at the end of the day, this is one of the many things that, it it is like pretty hard to accept as a decision. Sometimes I'm wondering like, was it the right choice? Maybe should I have, started a project that was, 2D oriented and actually a lot cheaper to produce, and like give us a lot more breathing room from a financial perspective, on the rest. And then also, we essentially took the hard path because, as Wolf mentioned, we're very deep on and extremely big on customization, right? And as you can imagine, customization for 3D is immensely hard, immensely harder compared to customization for 2D, right? And so that's the part where we actually, there may have been like a lot of things that I would have done differently. Separately, obviously, operating a business in general is very hard, and I think that anyone who has built a business just understands that. At the same time, we're in a space that actually expects projects to deliver things at a rate that is absolutely, you know, insane. When at the end of the day, people, when you build a business, you have to create a legal entity, you have to operate various different things, especially if you're building infrastructure, you have to, have like kind of like a software development life cycle. That means having, kind of like a infrastructure in place and a continuous integration and CI. You need to have like testing, you need to have, you know, kind of like local testing, infrastructure testing, and integration testing. You need to release, then you need to maintain. There are bugs. You need, and there are just like so many things that whenever you build, just infrastructure takes a lot of time. And this is why, companies that are like in the tech space just don't release things that often, and despite having massive influx of, venture capital backed or other types of, debt, debt funding and debt-based funding and other mechanisms to kind of like um, raise capital. And yeah, I strongly do believe that like there is first the part on kind of, the art we took the hardest solution and we made it extremely hard on ourselves. And second was probably just operating a business where, you have to do everything at the speed of light. You have to learn at the speed of light because like I never had built a business myself before. I helped others do it, but like didn't do it myself. So yeah, I think that there was just like a lot of, a lot of things. And then personally, I think that um, having, as I mentioned, because of like the 3D art and like things just costing a lot more than I had anticipated, I just ended up working for like over a year for, it's volunteering, it's pretty much like I didn't make any bucks, and I've been actually, buying myself like probably for like $20,000 worth of Rebels and Night cards, and have been, handing over and giving away most of my own as part of giveaways, etc. So, it is pretty hard, and I think that like a lot of people need to adjust their expectations. A bunch of people are going to want to get rich, etc. I always said from the beginning, Rebels is not going to be that project, but like we really want to make people like, people's NFTs usable, and so we're going to continue working towards that. And yeah, again, like I don't like that much just like working for free nonstop, and I have like very limited amount of time, especially because I just started my own company. But I'm always gonna be there for the community. This morning again, I was doing a podcast, with one great community member, and however I can, I will always help push, people in the community. That's really something that I will strive for forever.
And I hear you. I hear you. I honestly also really like your art and look where Rebels is now. And I also hope that for more hurdles whenever, or I hope there's no hurdles, but I hope you get over them as well in the future. And so now, looking at the market itself and a broader view, and of course, for people who have been in the NFT space for quite some time, from your observations, like looking at it on a scale, um, looking at previous strategies first, what are those strategies for NFT projects that will no longer work at current times? And what are new strategies that you observe will be working or are working right now, especially in the market?
Yeah, I'm probably like the worst person to ask this because like I don't follow whatsoever like anything in the NFT space, and like everyone like in the audience can vouch for this. I suck. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I'm just like constantly on like Twitter DMs, just like joking with people, but like I actually don't follow that closely the space, honestly.
Yeah, maybe I can add some flavor to this question, right? I think I think my opinion is not too far from probably what Nas would say, but I'm probably a little bit more engaged with the NFT community than Nas is. But my opinion is that when we kind of dropped off in the last crash of our Bitcoin, I think we were in that meme coin phase, right? We had all the dog coin that were popping up left, right, where it was all about who makes the most noise and what's the next pump and dump scheme. And that kind of transitioned over into the NFT space. And to be honest, a lot of the founders that have started companies or projects within NFTs don't necessarily have the background or experience required to run a successful company. So as Nas mentioned, there's a lot that goes into building a product, let alone building a company. And there's just not enough experienced founders out there, in my opinion. So you'll see a lot of the stuff that keeps popping up is extremely short-lived and fizzles out. And for the matter, because it's not well thought out, it's not well considered. It's just an opportunistic approach by founders, as well as from the community. The mindset is that of meme coins. And so within that entire chaos and noise, you will find gems, I believe, like Rebels, where you have established or proven or founders with a proven track record who are actually trying to build the tech. There's a few out there. It's just that you need to find those. And I think those are the ones that will survive through the bear and emerge. Again, there's different or varied definitions of success, but I feel like that those NFTs will, or those projects will survive the bear more than the ones that are chasing pipe dreams, don't have necessarily the right skill sets in place, are pandering to community demands for, tokens and whitelist raffles and stuff like that. Because that's not a product. None of these are products. And I think what Nas mentioned earlier on is that you need a product. Like our focus is to make NFTs usable, and by usable means sellable. So that's our, I think, projects that will focus on those two aspects for the tech will probably do better in the future.
All right, all right. So well said, sir. My next question is something that's interesting even to the holders who are listening right now. So what's actually next for Rebel? So can you talk to us more about the exciting future of Rebels and your plans for 2023 to ensure the longevity of the project?
Yeah, I can talk to that. I think that, the great thing is that we've set the expectations kind of fairly early on the type of project that it would be, and it is going to be extremely bottom up, and we always made it clear that it's important for the community to feel like they can propose things and actually kind of like take ownership of the project. So to that effect, we have people in the community, um, building different kind of, I would say, products, and for us as a community to stand behind them. I'm thinking of, one of the community member started an AI competition platform, which we actually used as part of the community, essentially to create AI art competitions. And there is like a whole set of things, amazing people just building mystery novels that are also minting an additional, there are like quite a few things that are coming out of the community that are so interesting and absolutely wonderful in terms of creativity. As to the work, of kind of the team behind the project, we're heads down, essentially, ensuring that the patch, customization just launches as soon as possible. As I mentioned, we worked essentially like extremely hard, especially throughout the second part of last year, on building all the code like that essentially can handle the customization at the like rendering level, and also just building artwork for patches and other things. And so I think that we're in a pretty good place of like just work on at the integration level and smart contract level now. And so that's going to be the thing that we're focusing on. We're going to try to also work with great partners who can help us get like a good distribution channel as well. And so very excited to bring that to market. As Wolf mentioned, kind of taking it one step at a time, that there is no need in kind of promising the moon. This is the thing that we promised and that we'll achieve. And we just want to make sure that every single thing that we release is just, of the highest quality. That's it. Because our holders deserve it. And again, we have to start making NFTs usable. And if the product sucks, it is not going to be used. That's as simple as that.
And I'm sure your community is looking forward to that. They're excited for it. And actually, we do have one last question, but we would like to also say that after this question, we have a Q&A. So for our audience, ready your questions. You can make a request to be a speaker and ask our wonderful guests your questions, or you can actually comment down here and we can read them for you. So without further ado, last but not least, for new NFT projects launching this 2023, what suggestions do you have for them to be successful? What are some key things to keep in mind when starting a new project in the NFT space?
Oh, wow. That is a tough question. Um, I would so I named it the tokenless test. And it's actually if you actually want to make something that works not just given the current market, but for the future that would actually last, like, a very long time and build a sustainable business. You essentially need to build an ecosystem and a business that works without NFTs. And NFTs, at the end of the day, are a way for your users to interoperate with other ecosystems, right? So if you think about something as simple as Counter-Strike, everyone loves Counter-Strike, obviously. Skins are available within CSGO. At the end of the day, the people owning skins within the a closed ecosystem just works great, right? And it is a great product on its own, and people will continue to play just because the product is great, and it is some like it has a great network of people available, where you can communicate, you can actually share experiences, play, like get your anger out, whatever that is that actually makes you love the game. But NFTs could be added on top of it to gain interoperability with other ecosystems, right? Like people who would want potentially to do more with their skins, apply their skins somewhere else, or unlock additional things and create additional communities outside of the platform based on their skins. And so that's really how I think about it. I know that, like, there's going to be a lot of speculation. There's short term, and it is going to continue. Like we keep seeing that. Hopefully, not for long. Um, but I really strongly believe that you know the winners after this era are going to be the ones that actually make an ecosystem that works without tokens, but tokens are added on top of it to enable additional experiences, essentially. And this is pretty much what we saw happen with the ICO craze, for example. Back in 2017, every single person under the sun was making an ICO, ranging from doctors to, just like building makers and other things. There was an ICO for every single thing on Earth. And at the end of the day, the thing that actually ended up working were ecosystems such as Ethereum and others, where the token is actually a lot less important than the functionality that is provided, right? Like the vast majority of the people on Ethereum are actually using Ethereum. The people that are on top of Polygon are actually using Polygon, the technology, and it is being powered by a token, but the token is not the reason why people are joining the ecosystem. So I really strongly believe that if the bear market lasts, 2 to 3 years, which is probably going to be the case, given that what we're seeing, and it's probably going to be like a slow kind of like like a slow downtrend for the next 2 years or 3 years until we have another amazing kind of usage and peak of interest based on some new use cases. I do believe that the winners will be the ones that actually create ecosystem that works without token, but add tokens on top of it to, increase even more the value of being part of this ecosystem.
Thank you for that. And I believe everybody got a lot of insights from what you said. And so now I hope you're ready. We are opening the floor for questions. It is Q&A time. So for our wonderful audience, you may now request to speak up. And I see that Six God a while ago was requesting. So come on up to our floor to ask your question.
Yo, hi guys. My question is for Nas.
Hello,
Yo,
hello.
Nas.
Yeah.
When had mod for 6 bro? Just kidding. Just wanna ask, is there an estimate like when are the patches gonna launch? Because as you know, we're all treated for it. Yeah, that's my question.
Whoops, I was
Can,
talking
can,
while
can,
muted actually.
oh, yeah, go on.
No, good, good.
No, I didn't even hear, like, I don't think I heard the question right. So if you heard it, go ahead.
I think it was mostly around timing for the patches. And so I was actually saying that you and I actually had very soon a conversation with partners on this. Um, it's a bit hard to evaluate because like some of the things are actually a little bit outside of our controls in terms of some of the people who are gonna participate in building this infrastructure as well and help us with mostly like a lot of the front end work. By front end, I mean, the actual kind of like user interface, not the entire back end behind the scenes. And so, yeah, like I hate giving timelines because every time that I give timelines, like we fuck it up and it's like we're late. So I just don't want to like jinx it this time. Hopefully we have something that just that is available soon enough and that we get like a commitment, essentially like a time commitment from the folks that we're working with to kind of finalize everything, test it, and at the end of the day, I do believe that we'll have probably pseudos and other kind of like highly respected people in the community have an early access prior to the rest to kind of like get feedback, test things out. If things are broken, we'll probably, I guess, like I'll send some of the rebels to people myself to make sure that like everything goes well. But yeah, the we're working on it again. Hopefully, it won't be too long before everything is finalized.
Oh yeah,
Wolf, do you want to add something?
yeah, that's all. Thanks, Nas.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to add that it's, from a strategy point of view, it's these the partners are more in line with what how Rebels is looking to operate in this space. I think as Nas mentioned, is we're looking at probably a couple of years at least of a bear, right? And we don't know how bad it's going to get before it starts to get any good, which means we don't know how we want to manage our treasury, manage our time, manage all of our resources that we have at our disposal. And so it just made sense to, partner up with people who have aligned, or where the vision or the approach is aligned. And we just get stronger by partnering up with people. And that's kind of what I would say the way of working seems to be for now.
Great. Oh,
No,
sorry,
no.
Nas. You can go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. I think it's like the reality is that if we had like a lot more money, we could have essentially thrown dollars at the problem, and just get like a pretty strong team, the reality is that we actually had like I think it was like 2 months and a half ago, we had like a couple proposals from dev studios, but we actually didn't have the money to pay them essentially. It was like north of $60,000. And so at the end of the day, we also need to make sure that we have kind of a solution that works like financially, especially, and it was very clear from all the conversations that I was having with people at OpenSea and other kind of leaders with that behind the scenes that, the royalty streams would just like dry up. And not that we had a lot in it to begin with, but yeah, it's pretty clear that the secondary sales are gonna just drop to the revenue on secondary sales are gonna drop to zero. So we essentially need to make sure that however we structure it, we have enough money to keep the lights on, right? Like because at the end of the day, we're hosting 10 or I guess we can say like over 13,000 images of 30 megs each. And as you can imagine, hosting that just costs money. The customization is going to cost money over time, etc. So, there will be recurring operational costs for the project that are right now not even like subsidized by royalties. So that means that we're not even making enough money through royalties to make the project not even profitable, but just not lose money over time. And so that's the part where we have to be extremely conscious. And I'm very aware of like things taking a bit more time, but at the end of the day, we need the project to keep the lights on, especially throughout the bear market. So that is the most important thing that I also recommend anyone working in this space right now. Is just ensuring that you will be able to pull through this, the next 2 to 3 years, and conserve like whatever you can from your treasury, to kind of live until like things pick up, and that's the important part.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I hope that you do have that, especially in the coming times. So, are there any other questions from our audience? You may speak up right now. You can request, or you may actually comment down on our comment section here, and we can just ask for you for our wonderful guests.
So I see a question from Sal, and obviously it is when Lambo, and I believe that Lambos are going to be airdropped next Monday at 4 p.m. PT.
I like that.
The Lambos are going to be blue and black, so it is going to be great. We've worked on that for the past 8.5 years, and yeah, I'm super excited about it. It's going to be great.
I like.
And
Just make sure you're not standing underneath it when it's dropped.
exactly. That is a very good advice. One shameless plug here. We have in the audience mystery novel NFT. So at Dimension Get VR, an amazing creative person in the community who released essentially a novel, a book, based around rebels. It's called The Five Deadly Rebels, and it is about kind of like inspired from some of the characters from Rebels and PA, and just giving them life in a great universe. And so just started minting the collection for the books, and so I'm very excited for that. So please check it out. Mystery novel NFT is actually, we need great people who build lore and IPs within the space, and really hopeful that you will succeed doing so. And yeah, we're all behind you.
I see that Six God has another question. When NAS at PH, he asks.
At what?
At PH, I think Philippines.
Oh wow. When PH? Well, in the VC, in the PHVC, we can probably arrange that this weekend, but I think that IRL is going to take a bit of time because I'm hammered at a level by work that is hard to describe. I actually work probably like 25 to 26 hours a day, so it is a bit hard these days. But I will come visit one day for sure, man.
And that's great. Um, do our audience have any more questions? Because if not, then Nas, Big Bad Wolf, thank you for being with us today. I mean today. And do you have? Oh, there's one more request from Mystery Novel. Come on up. Hello.
Hey,
Hi, Mystery Novel.
Oh, hey. I was afraid that my Spaces nightmare was happening again. My mic always gets messed up. But anyway, I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks, Nas. It's finally great to hear your voice and speak to you with my own voice instead of DMing. And and Wolf, thank you so much too. It's you've been you've been my biggest supporter really, and the Rebels community is you know I'm just I'm just always overwhelmed by how great it is, and I just wanted to say thank you for to everybody, and that's it. And have a good night, and I'll see you guys on Twitter and on Spaces and on chats tomorrow.
excited, super excited. Thanks so
You're
much,
welcome,
Mister.
man.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that. So as I was saying, if there are no more questions, Nas, Big Bad Wolf, thank you for being with us here today. Do you have any final things to say, or do you have anything else to plug?
No, honestly, just so happy that we're having conversations that really help the space, get maturity. We don't get a lot of those conversations, and I think that like this is very important. Um, and yeah, no, I'm super excited, to hear people kind of like taking the right approach to again like providing maturity to the space. And I'm so proud also of people in the community that have been building great things. Obviously, we have Dimension here, we have Wolf, obviously. Forum is doing great things, and other people in the community. So I'm very very excited about it. And you know for people in the audience who are part of the community, whenever I can do anything to help, please let me know. I will always be your biggest supporter, just like everyone has been an amazing supporter to me. So very excited for that. And guys at the Token Minds, folks, I'm super thankful for you guys to host us tonight.
And we're really thankful that you're here with us too. So, um,
I
yeah,
just had
thank
one
you.
last thing to
Oh, yeah, yeah.
plug, Token Minds, if you
Go
don't
ahead.
mind. I am also, I host a Spaces series basically under the Twitter handle Big Bad NFT Show. We've got an episode coming up this Sunday. That's the focus for that is more on the B2B and enterprise and non-meta use cases for NFT technology. And we have an episode coming up with a company called Check.io. They're working on digital identity in the Web3 space, and they have some solutions around that. And so please tune in, go check out there's an announcement around that as well. But that's just the plug I wanted to make. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the opportunity, Token Minds. Really enjoyed here, and hopefully we'll continue to stay in touch and collaborate. Thanks.
Yes, thank you too. And for our audience, of course, tune in to Big Bad Wolf's Twitter space. And yeah, so If you want to know more about NFT strategies, we do this weekly. We are Token Minds. I am your host, Aldwin, and I have my co-host here, Chris Barbacusi. Thank you for that. And yeah, to everyone, good day, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.